Good day, everyone. I want to thank you for taking time out of your day to join Leon and myself as we go over EquiTrust Bridge product today. It's going to be a fantastic webinar. But before I get started with that, I wanted to go over a few things about why agents love working with us over here at IAMS. Also, we're going to have a few polls today, so we'll be getting those going. I've got 3 of them on tap for you, and they are got a couple different questions here. So if you're a webinar regular, we're going to have a couple different polls for you. A couple things I wanted to highlight today is best-in-class customer service. This is a commitment that we make, and you can always reach a live person if you call during business hours at 800-255-5055. We do try to get to those calls within 2 to 3 rings, and again, no dial by name directory, no having to get past the gatekeeper to get to somebody. Just ask if we're in, and if we're not, then somebody else is going to get you taken care of, so nothing gets lost in the wash there. We also have our new producer bonus program. This is for any production in your first 6 months or 180 days with us over here at IAMS. As you can see, there's a great prizes, marketing strategies, and a lot more that starts with just as little as 100,000 of fixed index annuity production. Life does also count for these. So if you are currently producing with us or would like to know more, just give one of the annuity sales directors a call, and we can tell you what level you're at or discuss some strategies to implement these new producer bonuses with us over here at IAMS. Moving on to another business builders program, we're going to go over to our referred producer program. I do see a couple advisors on with us today that have taken advantage of this program. I literally took a call from an advisor this morning who was wanting to know status of this and had 2 more agents that he was going to send over to us. Our business on the wholesale side of the industry is similar to yours in the field, in that one of the best leads we could ever obtain is a referral from one of our valued producers. When you do refer someone to us, we cut you a $50 thank you check, but where the real money comes in is as your referral writes business, you'll receive an override on that business. Our ownership team, Steve, Charles, and Curtis, sign checks for thousands of dollars every quarter. If you can think of anybody that would be a good addition to the team and get $50 in your pocket, you can put their information in the questions box or send me an email at timw@iamsinc.com with that information, and I will definitely get them reached out to today. Below that is our marketing reimbursement program, which is our most popular program. For every $100,000 in fixed index annuity premium, you get $100 into your marketing reimbursement account. Why this is so popular and lucrative for our advisors is we truly do consider this to be your money. We don't cap your account, mandate where you have to spend the funds, or tell you when you have to cash in the account. It's your marketing reimbursement, and we want those funds to help keep you in front of clients. We don't tell you which vendors you have to use. We do have recommended vendors, and we do have our in-house creative team that you can apply those reimbursement dollars to as well. If you'd like to know where you're at on that marketing reimbursement, again, give one of the sales directors a quick call. We'd love to help you out with that. We do have our back office support. We have Michelle heading up the life team, and then we've got Mackenzie on the new business team for annuities. Their team works tirelessly for you to get that application from application to commissions. And they're gonna, so when you go to work with IAMS, my back office and those new business teams become your business, a team to help, again, keep you in front of those clients. Now we do have our website. This is a great tool for our producers to use and another reason to work with us over here at IAMS. Once you're contracted, you'll have full access to everything that you see on this slide and so much more. If you haven't registered yet for the website, it's very simple to do. It takes about 5 to 10 minutes. And when you're done with this call, go ahead and create that account. We'd love to see you on there. There's a ton of information. And if you are looking for a webinar on functionality of our website, there is one at YouTube. Just search IAMSinc.com and website, and it's a great webinar there. Shows you all of the functionality of that website, And again, one of the annuity sales directors can certainly help you out with that, or life sales directors too. Firelight eApps, this is a single sign-on at IAMSinc.com. Technology is where the industry is going, and Firelight, iPipeline, and Sunfire are top-notch sites streamlining the application process. Most of our carriers are on one of these eApp platforms, so you can go onto one site, IAMSinc.com, and submit that business. It is COVID-friendly, and some carriers are going to the eApp only for their product lines, and some will also actually offer more commissions if you submit it on an eApp platform. Make sure you ask your sales director before you submit a paper app to see if you can earn more by submitting that online. Utilizing our eApp platforms accelerates the application process substantially. The eApp platforms help you submit business in good order the first time. This also reduces the processing time of your business and gets you paid quicker. As I mentioned previously, this is a single sign-on at IAMSinc.com, and we've integrated our business with those 3 eApp platforms so you can have the most effective and efficient way to submit business. We do have a full in-house creative team that can help you with your practice, and a lot of the items that we have on our website are turnkey and available for you. We can simply impose your contact information and business logos onto it, and then you can utilize that with your clients. Speaking of logos, agency solutions are something that we are very good at, and something that if you haven't created a fully customized brand for you and your agency, we can certainly help. This is going to assist you with your name recognition, which grows your natural market organically. We can get logos designed and imposed on business cards, brochures, stationery, and again, we've got a ton of resources on our website to where if you like one of those presentations or emailable marketing support that we have, we can put your logo on it. Lastly, what a lot of folks are looking for is that help on the digital marketing solutions. We can help you with websites, social media marketing, email marketing, and more. The internet and social media sites are where the overwhelming majority of prospects go to for information. Making sure that you're accessible and represented in those marketing lanes is beneficial to growing your business. Reach out to myself or one of our sales directors once this call concludes to see if IAMS creative team can help you and your agency. We founded IAMS Wealth 5 years ago now. What we've done is grow this division on IAMS very organically. We've helped advisors become IARs and pass the Series 65 at a very successful rate. Once we have you registered, we will bring great value to your practice. We've got an incredibly competitive fee structure for both you and your clientele. We also have a great technology and investment platform that is very easy for the agents to use, and that back office support with IAMS Wealth is second to none as well. They take a lot of those timely tasks that are put on agents and help you out again so you can stay in front of those clients. This has been a major growth sector of our business, and assets under management could be a major growth sector for you to make sure you get as much wallet share with those clients that you're working so hard with. We did host 5 life and annuity academies this year. We are done for 2023, but looking at that calendar for 2024, as we'll have a digital academy in January and then start hosting our in-person ones in March or April. So we will be getting that schedule out. But these 2-day trainings are an excellent opportunity for our agents who are looking for new ways to grow their business. IAMS does cover all of the expenses for the academy, gives you great presentations. So at the last one, I think we had 18 different presenters that presented over those 2 days. So not only are we going over top products, top marketing strategies, but also some advanced marketing strategies to help, again, keep you in front of those clients and helping them solve all of those financial needs that they have here. I do have my first poll that I wanted to go ahead and pop out here, and that is, will you meet your 2023 annuities and life revenue goal? So I'm going to go ahead and got that poll going. Would love some participation here real quick. Going to talk about our Seaside Sanctuary, which is a producer trip that we do have qualification going on and is open all business that is submitted with between now and December 31st would count for Seaside Sanctuary. And then we also have another trip, Wentworth by the Sea, that is currently going as well. I'm going to go ahead and close that poll. Get over to this slide there. So we do have the Seaside Sanctuary. That qualification does close here on the 31st of December, but we do have Wentworth by the Sea that will continue to qualify for right during that. So 2 trips to qualify for, one that's coming in on the qualification and then one that's getting going. So with that being said, Leon, I'm going to go ahead and make you the presenter. Appreciate everybody's participation on that poll. We do have 2 more polls coming through as I get this over so Leon can present. If you do have any questions, we will get those answered at the end of the presentation here. So definitely don't hesitate to send those in there. But Leon, the floor is yours, sir.
Hey, thanks a lot, Tim. I appreciate it, and obviously excited to be here. I always get a kick out of sitting in on the first part of this, and EquiTrust and IAMS have had a long-standing relationship and partnership, and I, as you might understand or might expect, I sit in on quite a few of these as a presenter and see what organizations have to offer their advisors, and IAMS is as good as it gets. At the high-end advisor experience, the tools, the back office support, which is huge, high-end tech. It's a great organization to partner with, and we're happy to be part of that and be partners with them as well. So excited to be here today talking about an important topic. I always make myself some notes, before I get going, things that folks not. First and foremost, you may or may not be aware that November is long-term care awareness month. It's really nice to kind of put this on the forefront. And I wrote a note down too that to remind myself that this is personal, right? And you'll hear me throughout this really talk about stories and personal experiences. When I say personal, I do mean about myself, both in the past and something currently that my family's going through. So I'll talk about that. I think that's important. When you're talking about long-term care and who it impacts, right? Obviously, the client is impacted, the person that would be planning to solve for a long-term care event, but also the caregivers, family members, folks like that, that are I think sometimes overlooked a little bit, and the impact that has, and it can be emotional and absolutely is personal. So I'll spend quite a bit of time talking about that. So I always start out with a little bit of kind of why. Why EquiTrust, right? So, if you currently work with us, great. If not, hey, we want to tell you a little bit about us and what we stand for. And if you do, but maybe there's some more room to place some more business with us, we want to remind you why we think we're a good partner. One of those things is, we really try to, we live by the KISS method, right? Keep it simple, and really you'll see that in our product simplicity and where we're competitive. We're going to talk a little bit about some of our premium bonuses and some of the promotions we have there later. Extremely strong on the accumulation side. We're going to talk about our long-term care product, today, which, I think is truly a game changer and is only going to improve as we look at ways to open that up to more and more folks and more funding options and opportunities. Rate transparency and the integrity side, renewal rate transparency. And you can go onto our website right now, and you can look up the rate history for any product we have, since its inception. I think that's a powerful story. I think that's something that's important. As you sell Trust Me products to your clients, you're asking for their trust. What a really strong message it sends to say, hey, I've got a carrier that I want to pair you with. I think it's a good fit. Let me show you what they've done historically, from a renewal rate perspective. I know we're one of very few companies that'll do that. We've taken that a step further, even just on our agent, advisor, client experience side. You can go and look at our new business processing times on our agent gateway. We started posting those there. We want to be an open book as much as possible, and kind of tell that story so you can tell it to your clients. Sales concepts, we like to keep it simple, but also pair that that product with a concept. We've got our inherited IRA program, which is very unique and strong. Our partial tax conversion program, offers some unique opportunities and opens up, a different conversation with some of your clients. So, a whole nother webinar there, but some opportunity there we think that sets us apart from the competition. And then high level of customer service. Quite frankly, when I was going through the interview process to join EquiTrust, I went home and said to my wife, I can't quite tell if this is a service company or a sales-facing organization, because they talked so much about that. And that's not to say that we're perfect, right? I mean, like any company, especially now, as we're all bringing on these high volumes of business, and everybody's in growth mode. As I'm kind of making air quotes, I mean, I think we're always in growth mode, but it's just different based on the point in time in the market. This is an important deal. That's part of the reason we post our new business processing times. We want to be upfront. We want to be honest about it. And we'll also have that conversation and give you the story to tell. About, hey, what are we doing to improve or maintain our customer service levels? And whether it's, going from 35 folks in our new business and in-force back office teams to nearly double that here in 2023, and continuing to look to grow that so we can maintain those levels of service. That's an important part of what we bring at EquiTrust, and something we take incredibly seriously. So as you look at why EquiTrust, right, it's some of the same reasons I think Tim and his team partner with us. As to why we would hope you would, look at us as a good option, when you're, looking at the, many options you have to place business with your clients. Okay, so let's talk bridge. I kind of do this a little bit in reverse. I'll get into the kind of an illustration, right, of, hey, what's this look like, and then we'll kind of get into the product details, some of the underwriting stuff, the wellness program, all the things that go along with it. So we'll kind of set the stage, from a long-term care, just overarching, landscape perspective. Then we'll go from there. So you guys may or may not have seen this in multiple forms, but clients deserve to have the long-term care conversation. Change my mind. It's kind of a joke and something to make people giggle a little bit, but the reality is it's very serious, right? You all probably know who Tom Hegna is, and he's done a lot on this product for us, and he made a comment that was very general, said that the long-term care product or problem is a $1 million problem in retirement. You can either choose to solve for that now or figure it out later, and the figure it out later part is not a pretty sight, right? It's if we don't proactively plan for it, obviously that's not going to end well typically for most of our clients. So something they deserve to at least have the conversation about, and you're in the perfect position to do that. So what's it look like today, right? So some of the concerns, 90% of long-term care carriers today are no longer issuing new policies. Quite frankly, some of the folks that are in this space from the hybrid market perspective, where we're at, with annuities and or life insurance, are looking at, changing or eliminating some of these options as well. So the window to solve this problem is getting more narrow by the day, unfortunately. Again, one of the reasons we think that this is a kind of a game changer in the space, with the bridge product. 66% of people say that healthcare and long-term care costs are their primary worry. I think that number's low. I really do. Every time I see that and say it, I think that number feels low. I think, you worry about two things as you're going into retirement, right? Do I have enough money? Will my money last? And then what do I do about healthcare? And long-term care obviously fits in there. As I just said, it's a $1 million problem potentially in retirement. And that's for 70%, folks that, are going to have a long-term care need. 70% of long-term care costs are absorbed by the families. We're going to talk a lot about the caregiver strains and the emotional side of this, like I talked about. Boy, that's a big number. 88% of adults between 50 and 80 want to age in place. Again, even that's a high number. I think that's low. Who doesn't want, to have control? And that's what I feel like this is saying, and, maintain the control over where, and how their care is provided. I'm going to talk a little bit about this. We're going through something like this in my family right now with my mother-in-law. And quite frankly, she did not have, the proper planning in place. It's not something I think was on her radar or our radar for quite a while. And we're struggling, and she's struggling with that right now. But it's not a lot of fun, right? And I can tell you that it has really shined a light on it for myself and my wife personally to not put our children in a similar position. Not that you're always going to do what you have to do for your loved ones, but you want to have a say in where you age, right? And I think that's an important piece, and one that's quite frankly overlooked. The cost of long-term care insurance I think that number's outdated, right? I mean, these slides are probably, every day they get a little outdated, especially when you look at the cost, skilled nursing, semi-private nursing, assisted living. If these slides are a month old, these numbers are low, right? And what's it going to look like in 10 years? Is it going to double? I think that's a fair assumption. If not, we know it'll be more than this in 10 years, right? We use 10 years a lot of times as a date of claim from an illustration perspective. That's why I use that number. And then one that we'll talk about, how our product compares to this last statement. Residual value of unused long-term care insurance policies is typically zero, right? You pay in, you use it, and the average length of claim is 2.5 years. Honestly, there are many examples of folks go on claim and it's just a handful of months and they're they pass, and there's very little residual, if any, residual value of long-term care policy, no matter the length of time and the investment they've made in that. So as you can see and understand, it's a tough solve for the client, and boy, to have a true solution will set you apart in the marketplace. When you realize that long-term care solutions can be as much about your for the family and friends as is for the client. I referenced this, right? So the caregiver strains. Again, I went through some of the stuff with my own mother, a handful of years ago. Living with us, moving from Pennsylvania to I live in the Des Moines, Iowa area, moving her out here, and a lot of these things are real life, right? And I can speak to them. 69% of family and friend caregivers report having to rearrange their work schedules. So just, your clients, right? So let's say I'm one of your clients. We have an 8 and 12-year-old. As you can imagine, we're running. My wife goes and, to basketball practice. I go to soccer. We go in opposite directions, and now put another, human being in the middle of that you have to provide care for. That is not, not easy. The financial side, family caregivers spend 26% of their income. Again, most Americans can't just take 26% of their income and allocate it to taking care of a relative without giving something up, their personal savings, vacations, you name it. This is a real issue, for the caregiver, because look, we're going to do what we have to do to take care of our mother, our father, right? We're just going to, because the vast majority of the folks you're working with are good people, and they want to do what's right. And in this instance, what's right is to think about how do we plan for this ahead of time, okay? And the emotional, social, and physical demands, I'm not going to go into great detail. You can understand it. I think when you talk about the time and financial strain, the emotional, social, and physical stresses, that there's just no time for social, right? Is there a result of depression, anxiety, a sense of resentment? That's the big one. And I'm going to talk about, really a couple of things at the end as we wrap this up. In the form of dignity and memories, and how we preserve those, so I probably spend a little more time on the emotional side here with this. I think this is how it's sold. I think this is how you should be presenting it, to your clients, because, maybe they don't see this as a big issue. They feel like they can self-fund this, in retirement, and they don't understand the math and what's available to them, or they've tried to get it and been declined, right? So what Bridge has done is really there's 3 aspects to it. Today there's really 2, right? The long-term care coverage, the ability to, and the desire, the ability to protect and grow assets. There are products out there today that attempt to do those things, and we're bringing in the wellness piece that is, I think, the linchpin is, Bridge, right? I think it's the bridge between the two that makes the product more viable and appropriately work for the client, right? So where we're different, right? It's in a true FIA chassis. So this is, we talk about this in the terms of have your cake and eat it too. And what we mean by that is you can solve the long-term care issue, right, to some degree, and grow the asset, right? Typically, you got to make one or the other is the choice. Put your money somewhere and grow it, or pay for long-term care and solve that problem. Not both. We think we've got a product here that can help you do both. Flexible premiums, simplified and guaranteed approval. I always stop there and say, yes, true guaranteed approval. Somebody can be in a home today and we will approve them for this product. The leverage and the amount of coverage that they get will obviously be different, but it's the best worst case scenario you'll ever come across in this space, today. The wellness program, I think, is one that's undersold, underutilized, and something that we need to spend more time getting better at selling, to our clients. And selling meaning, hey, if you do this, your product will perform better. And true indemnity claims process may be the most important, right? I think I talked about simplicity earlier, right? And product design, it doesn't get any more simple than an indemnity claims process, right? What that means is once you qualify for long-term care, right, cannot perform 2 of the 6 activities of daily living or severe and permanent cognitive impairment. Once you're qualified, then it's simply, hey, here's your benefit base divided by 60. It's a 5-year payout, and that's you will begin to receive payments in that form. No chasing down receipts, no pre-approvals, none of that. Very simple, and this is a big deal when you're selling it to explain to people, because that's where the skepticism comes in. Well, yeah, how do I get my money? Okay, this is how it works. Okay, I understand that, right? From a client perspective. And then a completely digital process. We're going to talk a little bit about that. I think that you oftentimes, we think this is a game changer and a very, very positive approach. It is different though, so you have to control that. We're going to talk a little bit about that as well. And this is one quite frankly, I do individual calls on quite a bit on how to coach advisors on how to coach clients and how to control that environment, because it is a little different. All right, let's talk about a hypothetical, very common scenario we come across. We used to illustrate this with $250,000 of initial premium. I honestly wasn't comfortable with that. I think we have a lot of $100,000 premium cases come in. We haven't had a ton of 250. We've had some, but not a ton. This is a more realistic, in my opinion, view of what a client is going to be able to do. You can probably go through your mental Rolodex of clients you have that have $100,000 of not qualified money sitting out there, whether it's in a CD and I'll talk about some other places where you can help them find the money. A little more realistic, right? So David's a 65-year-old retired guy, single with 3 grown children. These 3 objectives that he has, I would argue we all have, right? Maybe they're in a different order. He wants to live independently as long as possible, wants to preserve his assets, and he wants to avoid being a burden to his children for assistance as he ages. Again, I think we all have those. For me, number 3 would be number 1. I don't want to be a burden to my children. And again, I want to preserve some of their memories and my dignity, right? And I'll talk about that later. David's got $100,000 of premium. He's a healthy gentleman. He's taking care of himself. He gets preferred underwriting class. 66% of our folks that go through underwriting get preferred. Actually, might have ticked up 67 or 68 here in the last report I saw. And when I say that go through underwriting, right? Not everyone has to go through underwriting, because if you're you have some things that are from an underwriting perspective that put you into the guaranteed issue or guaranteed approval underwriting class, then you don't even have to go through the underwriting process. It's that easy. But those that do go through underwriting, 66 or more of those folks right now are getting preferred. So in that case, as a 65-year-old at preferred, his coverage ratio is 315%. I don't expect you to understand anything about that other than the effect it has on his benefit base. We'll talk about that later and what those coverage ratios look like. Tim, I don't know if you attached some of the takeaways that I gave to you on this, and if they're able to access that. If not, I'll show you where you can find this on the microsite here in a little bit. So $100,000 of initial premium multiplied by the 315% coverage ratio because of his age and underwriting class. His initial benefit base is $315,000. Very powerful use of those funds, right? So, hey, let's fast forward 10 years. Hypothetical example here. After a decade of healthy living and participating in the NeverStop wellness program, David's developed an illness and is qualified for long-term care benefits. Okay, so let's talk about what that looks like. So remember, he gave us $100,000 at 315% leverage. He had a 315% initial benefit base. Well, he's got 10 years of our 2% guaranteed annual growth. So there's a 2% roll up guaranteed every year up to 20 years. We'll talk a little bit about that. Acts very similarly to an income benefit rider, okay? If you're familiar with the income side, works very similar to that. So there is some guaranteed growth in this product on the benefit base side, which is great. The NeverStop wellness credits, we'll talk more about that in detail, but all you really need to know there is he's participated in that program, actively participated in healthy living, and they are able to gain 5 to 8% additional credits, wellness credits that go into their benefit base. In this scenario, he got, a little north of $27,000. That's real money, at least it is to me and Fitch family. So his total benefit base at the time of claim was $411,000 and some change. Divide that by 60. Remember simplicity, divide 411,205 by 60. That gives them a monthly benefit of $6,853 per month. Hey, that may not pay for the entire cost, right? I mean, of his facility, but boy, he's far better off than he would have been had he not done this. And remember, those benefits come out tax free. Okay, so there's no that is the amount of money he will have to utilize towards his benefit base, because this does qualify as true long-term care. Okay, so yeah, David's done a pretty good job here. I'm going to show you.
Hey, Leon, I want to just
yeah.
real quick. I was crunching some numbers because that's what I do, and just so everybody sees that in the first year, that client's $100,000 after 10 years of the product working, him doing those wellness credits, is going to get $82,236 on that $100,000 investment. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, I'm going to show too. I'll show. That's a great point. I'm going to, when I talk about that, Tim, to have your cake and eat it too. And I know you and I have talked about this. I'm going to show you where on an illustration what that looks like. And, you hear the term debt asset and things like that a lot of times. Well, what if I don't use it, right? It's kind of, it's like the age-old, like, if I save for college and my kid gets a scholarship or he doesn't go to college, what if, right? Okay, well, let's take a look at that. By the way, we should all have such bad problems. I'm gonna show you kind of what that looks like here in a minute. If you're like me, you like pictures. At least I do. I learn by seeing. So I like showing this slide. It kind of illustrates exactly what I just walked through, right? So his initial premium, right, $100,000, boom. Immediately he's got that $315,000 of leverage. Now this is a good time. I get the, hey, Leon, what's the catch, right? And there is no catch, but there is a vesting period. So the vesting period is 20, 40, 60, 80 for the first 4 years. So immediately day one, they're vested 20%. Okay, remember when I said best worst case scenario? So you could have somebody that is in a home that's, that needs to start taking benefits immediately or shortly thereafter. They've got 120% of their benefit base available, still better than they are today. And I'll talk to you about bringing money over from a 1035 where they have some taxable gain, putting it into this contract. Well, then they're saving the tax that they would owe on the gain, right? Putting it into this product and taking those monies out tax-free. Okay, so really nice conversation to have with somebody in that scenario. But that's why we'll talk a lot about the wellness program here. Ideally we get them to 4 years and a day. They're 100% vested, and that's what we want to do, right? We want them to maximize that benefit base, whenever possible. Okay, so in this case, we'll talk about the rates on the FIA side, the index credits on this. He's gained, it started with 100 up to 184 and change. Compare that to the FIAs in the marketplace today. It's a pretty nice place to be. A lot of comparable products are not paying the same rates that we're paying today. Don't have some of the same caps and options. We'll talk about that a little bit later. So it's a have your cake and eat it too. Well, what if I never use it, Leon? Well, you've got a product that's growing from a pretty healthy perspective. So if that happens, great. You never need long-term care. We all love that. You've lived a healthy life. You're not in that situation. You've also got, now you have an asset that's grown. Okay. Add the 2% daily compounded roll up for up to 20 years. A lot of times you'll see that on the income side, only the max is 10 years. This will go for up to 20 years. That is a big deal, guys, right? You get somebody that's like, we use 10 years on David. He's, just for illustration purposes, you get a healthy 65-year-old, healthy 60-year-old that buys into this. and they could be 15 years down the road before they go on claim and or more, and look, and that impact of that on their benefit base is tremendous. So we really like to stress that 2% roll up is a big deal and continues to add to that benefit base. He adds in some wellness credits. We talked about that a little bit. I'll get into some detail there. Quite frankly, I think that could be a separate webinar on its own, what that looks like. But, hey, 27,000 additional benefit base is really nice. So that's what it looks like in picture form. Here's what I was talking about, Tim. So and I just kind of talked about it, right? You can kind of go through year by year, and you can look at this, heck, go down to year 15, right, and look at it. Like I had mentioned, if you looked at year 15, as you can see on the right hand side, what that does, kind of how I illustrated that, right? His monthly benefit would go up to 76 and change. The accumulation value is at 260, right? Remember, off an initial $100,000 investment. So have your cake and eat it too. We've actually made this slide's a little outdated, and I'll talk about that with the rider charge. If you see where it shows you the charge of the long-term care rider, and it displays it in whole dollars, it now does that in a percentage. So essentially, bips. Right, and we'll talk a little bit about that. So it's from I think sometimes from the client perspective, this is easier. They see whole dollars. We always talk about basis points. So I think from an advisor perspective, it illustrates and communicates a little better. So some of the product details, I've touched on some of these, but I do want to go through these a little bit more. Issue age 55 to 80. So you get somebody that gets this, right? I mean, I'm not quite at this point in my life yet, but I've had 2 incidents in my life personally, right, that tell me or screaming, Leon, you need to handle this once you can, right? Man, when I turn 55, we're going to hopefully be in a position where I can start to plan, for myself and for my wife hopefully with this product, right? So you get somebody who's 55. And we're looking at some things down the road, and I'm a little bit of a tangent here. Some different funding modes, right? Can we turn this into a 10-pay, things like that? Because one of the issues that we run into, and we'll talk about this, is right now, as you can see, the minimum premium $50,000, non-qualified dollars only. Well, can we look at some different pay modes, right? We're going to try and obviously look at bringing in qualified dollars into this. That's another product, a separate filing, so a little bit more of a a little bit more work to do there, but we are looking at ways to expand this and make it more available, to folks, depending on their ability to fund it. But you get a 55-year-old that's still got 10 years or so in the workplace, and they're relatively successful. Some of these folks are getting 6-figure bonuses every year, right? Well, hey, we've got a place where you can start to put some of those dollars every year if we can get this opened up to like a 10-pay model. So we're looking at things like that to really make this a game changer from who you can market to with this. Okay, minimum of 50,000. I mentioned flexible premium. All year one premium gets the leverage. So you can open it with 50 grand, and at the end of year one, day 363, whatever, put another 50 in it. And if they've got 315% leverage, that they get that at 100 grand. Okay, all year one premiums. And then after that, it's dollar for dollar. Okay. The reason that's important is because those dollars will come out tax-free. So even though they're not getting the leverage after year one, they can still put those dollars in. So if they've got some money that's coming available, they can put it in there and take advantage of take advantage of the tax position that they're putting those dollars in. So it's still not a bad play. 10-year surrender charge, 10% free withdrawal still after year one. So still some flexibility there. And then the indexes that we offer, some fixed and obviously the pretty standard indexes. I'll show you what the rates are in each of those here in just a second. Street level commission, 8%, 55 to 70, it's still 6% up to age 80. Look, I don't shy away from this. You guys are for-profit businesses, okay? It's okay to do what's right for the client and make a nice commission. There's more though, and this is where I start to feel a little bit, I think it was Monty Hall that let's make a deal back in the day, but and now I think more appropriately, it's the guy the guy or gal that's on, you know, late night TV, and they're selling you like knives or pots and pans, and they're like, if you order in the next 30 minutes, we'll double your order, right? So this is kind of that portion of the webinar for me. So until the end of the year, there's a 1% commission special. So that 8 goes to 9, the 6 goes to 7. Okay, so that's exciting. You know, we want to encourage folks as much as possible to obviously have those conversations here, you know, late in the year. And if you have folks, or or have relationships with folks that are in the health space, man, this is an important time of year for them. They're having a lot of these conversations. If not this year, I might start looking strategically on a way to partner with some of those folks and have, you know, offer this as a solution. And then also till the end of the year, we have a 3-app promotion. So the first app, you get an extra 1,000, the second app, 1,500, the third app, you're getting $2,000. So essentially on the case that we just showed you, David, you know, on 100,000, you know, you get the 8% base commission, the 1%, you know, commission bonus, and another $1,000. You're effectively getting 10% commission that first year. That's pretty good. That's not a bad payday, and your client's in a great spot. Okay, with an incredible product. So some of the rates, the ones in yellow, we just recently raised. We're like everybody. Hey, we're looking. You know, we have some dry powder, right? We've got some opportunity to continue to improve products, improve rates, make them more and more attractive to clients. So we just bumped the 1-year fixed from 5 to 5.5. We moved the point to point, you know, up to 50%, and the monthly par rate up to 100. So you know, those you know, when we talk about to have your cake and eat it too, right? This is why these are important. So if they never need the long-term care you know, piece, great. Good for them. They've lived a healthy life. They've never had to deal with that, but their asset continues to grow, you know, with solid index options and solid rates. Bridge microsite. I'm going to skip over this right now. I'm going to come back to this. I'm going to show it to you. Many of you hopefully have been on it. If not, that's okay. I'm going to show you some of the highlights of it. So I'm going to skip right through this, and we'll get to that. We'll get back to that. Assured Allies is a partner that works with us on both our underwriting process and our wellness program. That synergy is very, very important. So some key things to understand about the underwriting process. It's a 100% digital process. I mean, it's a video. It takes, you know, 20 to 30 minutes. There's a quick decision on underwriting. By quick, as soon as the client completes the interview, within a few minutes, you will have an underwriting decision. You can do that prior to application. So think that through. Very rarely is that the case. You usually got to submit an app, go through underwriting, right? Well, now there's hesitancy. I don't know where I'm going to come back at. I don't really know what the cost is. I'm not sure how the product's going to perform. Nope. We give you the answers to the test prior to it. Hey, you're secure, which is our guaranteed approval, your standard or your preferred. Okay, and then you can illustrate it and then go forward with an application. Honestly, guys, when you get good at this, you can go soup to nuts. The conversation, you know, assuming the person knows they have a long-term care need, we start in that place, you know, to submitting an application in an hour. You really can. And sometimes less if you have somebody that you know is going to be secure, guaranteed approval. And I'll talk a little bit about that later. What, you know, you might be going, what do you mean, Leon? How do we know that? And you know, and I'll get to that here at the end of this slide. So long-term care benefits, 100% guaranteed approval. We say that multiple times because a lot of times folks are like, yeah, but what if? There is no yeah, but what if. Guaranteed approval. Even if someone's in a facility today. Okay, no medical or no prescription drug, no prescription records, no blood draws, no doctor's records, right? We're not waiting on any of that stuff. We don't require it. This is the underwriting process. Okay, there's 5 underwriting questions. I'll show you some tools that you can use, you know, to obviously explain that to the client, but also familiarize yourself with it. Really, the first 3 are the most important. Are you currently in a facility? You know, you answer yes or no. Do you currently have the inability to perform any of the 6 ADLs? And then do you currently use a mobility device, a wheelchair, a walker, or something, you know, something like that? If you can answer no to all of those questions, okay, we encourage, put them through underwriting, okay? And we say that we've had several, and this number continues to increase. We've had several. First it was 1, now it's 2, 3, 4 folks that have had things like Parkinson's, okay, early stages. And you might think, well, that's a knockout. They're automatically guaranteed approval, right? Nope. We've had a couple of those folks because they're in such early stages of it that when they go through the underwriting process, they can demonstrate their mental capacity, physical capacity. We've had 2 of those folks get preferred. Okay. Wow, how powerful a story is that? You think that person may need some long-term care facility at some point in their life? Yes. Well, today they don't. Today they're in good health, right? So they qualified for the preferred and got a nice leverage amount on their money. And boy, you want to talk about peace of mind that you just provided a client that knows they've got some hard roads ahead. What a cool story. And so the point in telling you that is if they can answer no to those first 3, and I'll show you some resources. You don't have to write these down, remember them. I'll show you where you can find them. Tim, I think I sent you the 5-question brochure, so you have that. And the other 2 are a general health question, and if you have been on Social Security disability in the last 5 years. So those are the other 2 when you hear me referencing 5, but the first 3 are the ones we need no's to. We put those folks through underwriting. Don't overthink it. They answer no to it, put them through underwriting is really was what I'm trying to get to here. The riders, so as with all of our FIAs, all of our products, right, the nursing home waiver, terminal illness riders are included at no cost. The long-term care rider, so I kind of showed you that on the illustration. It's really factored as the net amount at risk. So you give me 100 grand, and just for easy math, so like in David's scenario, he gave us 100. He had 315% leverage. So the difference between that is 215%. That net amount at risk is what the long-term care rider is based upon. Right now, we're averaging about 48 basis points annually, incredibly reasonable cost to that. It's really reasonable in the early years because of the vesting schedule. So you'll see where in those first 4 years where it's really low, and then it does jump up. Well, that's because you go from the risk, right, being lower from a company perspective, but still on average, less than 50 basis points, for a cost of this. If you compare that to others in the marketplace and just spreadsheet us, we look good, from that perspective. The wellness rider is $100 per year. The first year is mandatory. You can't take it off the first year. After that, if they don't use it, they can remove that. We have about 70% participation at this point in that rider or in that program. I don't understand why it's not 100%, guys. It's a very simple program. I'm going to kind of talk through some of that here in a minute. But it just feels like, hey, if we're serious about this product, serious about making it work as best we can, we want to take part in that program. A, there's some real dollars there that they're giving up, and B, the longer we can delay claim, the better the product works for the client, right? And by the way, they're living a healthier lifestyle, right? So yeah, the rider. So I've talked through most of these. The one thing I do like to touch base on, and we've had this come up a couple times, the maximum year 1 long-term care coverage a person can have is $1 million. That doesn't mean that down the road they can't have more than $1 million. It means that if you got somebody that is healthy, gets into this pretty young, they can get up to 325% leverage, that they can't put more year 1 premium in it than would lead them or give them $1 million in long-term care coverage in year 1. It'll grow. They'll get the 2% roll up. They can get the wellness credits, so that they can have north of $1 million as it performs. But year 1, that's the max. This is just another, I can't continue to forget to take this out. I just talked through this, right? The 2% roll up, just another way to look at the formula. You got your benefits available for up to 60 months, right? How do we get there? The net amount at risk times the vesting percentage. At some point that'll be 100, right? There will be no vesting percentage. It'll be 100% plus the accumulation value. Divide that by 60. That's your monthly benefit. We've kind of talked through that. Good way. I get this question a lot, Leanne. If I don't have the coverage ratio sheet with me, right? And if you're having these conversations a lot, I'd have one of these in my folio, so I could reference it. But the more you do this, the more you get pretty good at at least ballparking it for folks. Here's an easy way to do it. The max amount is for a 55-year-old at preferred, they get 325%. Well, you can see every 10 years that goes down 10 percentage points in preferred. Well, if they're standard, it goes down, it's the same number, less 100, right? So 325 at 55 at preferred, 225, 55 at standard. So it's a pretty coordinated there. It's not quite as coordinated when you get into the guaranteed approval or secured issue. It's 150 at 55, it's 140 at 65, 130 at 75. So remember I said the best worst case scenario, even a 75-year-old that's in the guaranteed approval or the secured issued underwriting class gets 130% of their dollars. So that's again, that's pretty powerful. From a, hey, I want to have this conversation with somebody, and the math works, right? No matter what their situation. Okay. So the wellness benefits, I'm not going to spend a ton of time here other than tell you, you've heard me say, you get your folks to participate in this. If you want to have a conversation, Tim, and I have had, a couple of conversations about this. I'm glad to, have this conversation individually and help you kind of have this, what should I say, right, to a client. Ultimately, it's about extending the period of time between when we have put the product in place and when we have to activate claim, because then they're building more value and the product performs better. And ultimately, it's about them having a better quality of life, right? And isn't that what we're talking about here? It's a simple process. Contract is active. They'll get an email within 48 hours to fill out a wellness assessment. They'll be assigned a wellness coach. It's called an ally, wellness ally. That person will work with them to come up with some personalized recommendations. It's things like getting your hearing checked annually, right? We know that there's a direct correlation between hearing loss and dementia. Right. So, hey, you get certain amount of credits, for doing those kind of things. Do you have a device that counts your steps on a daily basis? Okay. What does that look like? Whether it's an Apple Watch, there's multiple, Fitbits, things like that. They'll give you some credits for that. You name it, annual checkups, gym memberships, things like that. It's really broken down into preventative, current situations that someone has and how they're managing it, right? Are they going to their doctor? Are they taking their medicine? Things like that. So it's kind of preventative, proactive and reactive. They'll build a map for them at the end of every 2 years. They're going to score it. Okay, and they're going to apply wellness credits based on the individual's participation. Like I had mentioned earlier, between 5 and 8% additional, dollars applied to their real money, right? And I think the wellness credits financially are great. I think the most powerful thing that I would sell here is we need to get you to at least 4 years in 1 day, Mr. Client. So help me help you, right? Let's participate in this. Let's add some dollars to the value of the contract, but let's make sure we get to 4 years in 1 day, because then we've got 100% of our money available to us, because we're outside of the vesting schedule. That's what I would talk about, right? So some of the sales opportunities, again, all non-qualified dollars, guys. We're seeing some big contracts come in right now because we've gotten the folks we're a little more than a year into this product now, and quite frankly, we've done enough of these. We've had enough conversations. Our groups are getting more comfortable. Our marketers are getting more comfortable having the conversations. The 1035 exchange is where it's at. You got somebody with an old annuity or life contract that's got some significant gain. Right. So if they take that out, they're going to have a taxable event on that gain. Well, if they 1035 that over this product, when that money comes out at claim, it comes out tax free. Okay. So we found some really nice opportunities there. That's where I would kind of start. The other obvious ones are, hey, liquid funds, right? Or money market, checking, savings, or you got your CD folks out there that have some money coming available that they can put into this. As they age, their priorities are changing, right? So the CD was a secure, safe place to put their money. Boy, I've got this issue with long-term care I've got to solve. Maybe I can use some of those monies or some of those dollars for that, right? So folks that have been previously declined are uninsurable for long-term care. There's a lot of them, right? 50% of, there's very few companies that will take them today, and half those folks get declined. And yes, we'll take them. And no, it doesn't hurt the product. We got it priced in. It's okay. And then you guys are all having at least annual reviews, annual conversations with your clients. When this comes up, this is where I'd make it emotional, right? And say, hey, if you haven't solved this, here's the reality. You now are, you will become an expert if you're not already in the long-term care and the impact that can have on a retirement plan. Nothing blows up a retirement plan faster than a long-term care event. Trust me. And have those conversations during the annual reviews and uncover those dollars. Okay, so to kind of refresh why we're different, we've gone through all of these. Okay, true FIA chassis, flexible premium, the indemnity claims process, guys, is a huge deal. It's very simple for a client to understand. And then, as I sum it up, look, you got to tell the story. You got to make it emotional. It's about memories and dignity. I want to preserve my dignity, and I say I mean me, right? As I've seen this play out in real life now with 2 family members, there's a loss of dignity. Okay, and we don't need to know the gory details and stories, but you can imagine, right? And that person, right? They want to preserve their dignity. Okay, I don't want my boys having to help me to the bathroom. I don't want them to help me bathe and shower and do all those things. I want them to remember dad coaching their baseball, their football, their basketball teams, running around outside with them, challenging them to one-on-one, right? Doing all those things. I don't want their last few years of memories of me, doing all the things that go along with a situation like that. Just don't, right? So preserve the memories that they have of you and your dignity. And that's how I'd start, that's how I'd sell this. The numbers are great, the product's great, but ultimately you have to professionally disturb the client enough to get them to invest a significant amount of their assets into a product, for something that, is going to affect the vast majority of us. Okay. So, what guys, I'm going to skip through some of this pretty quickly. I want to show you the microsite. We've got a lot of great products out there right now. Our Market 5, our Market 7, very popular products. Our bonus products, we've got a bonus on our bonus promo going to the end of the year. You can see that. Tim, I can send you an updated, if you don't have one, you probably have it, all product summary. Feel free to distribute that. You can see we've got, I do take a couple seconds to talk to people about that market power bonus, 12% premium bonus till the end of the year, no vesting, 4.5 current fixed rate. You got somebody that's been taking a little bit of a beating in the market, over the last year or two. To say to them, hey, in the first year, I can get you 16.5% yield, right, with the bonus and the 4.5%. That's a nice conversation to have, and boy, gets people feeling pretty good. The Market 10 is a no-cost return of premium. You get these folks that are, skeptical on annuities. There's a no-cost return of premium on that product. So a lot of options out there that, quite frankly, fit most people in today's world. There was probably a time when not all annuity products, our annuity products didn't have a place for everybody, right? And there are some obstacles to overcome that were just very, very difficult, with the client. I've got an EAP promotion right now. This has been a big success. We've paid out a ton of dollars here and moved, we've increased our EAP percentage almost 20% in the last month and a half or so. So any up to 5 cases, $500 per case. This is a big deal. We know that if we get you to use EAP, those come in good order, they go out faster. It's effectively a week and a half difference if we have something that comes in good order versus something that goes NIGO. So we want to get as many folks to have a good experience as we can. So take advantage of this. And by the way, if you're already using EAP, it's okay. We'll pay you the bonus. You probably already know this if you're doing business with us today. And then anybody that's not using EAP, you can get up to $2,500 between now and the end of the year for anything received through December 31st. So some nice dollars there. And quite frankly, we're trying to do that to create some additional capacity and to shrink those new business processing times. So thank you. So that's that. Tim, I'm going to transition over to the microsite real quick, just to show everybody what that looks like. So here it is, guys. So you can access this through our agent portal. So if you're already partnered with us, great. You have access to this. You can go on, just click on Bridge, and it'll take you right to it. Okay. If you're not, hey, this is the types of things that are available for this product. This is as well done as I've seen a lot of these guys. This is as well done as any microsite or product specific site I've ever seen, right? So hyperlinks to these. What is Bridge? What is the wellness program? Marketing materials, underwriting. What do I need from an approval, or what rates and state approval, state licensure? What do I need to do? Right? How do I get compliant? And then the calculator. So you can either click those and it'll take you right there, or you can scroll down. Hey, I've got a client, Leon, that I'd really like to send him an overview of Bridge. I'm not an expert yet, right? First and foremost, this is how I learned it. Okay. I literally just spent a bunch of time on this microsite, you know, so you can go over here, click on this, download this video and send it to a client. That's cool. Okay. Hey, Mr. Client, I've got a 3-minute video. I want you to watch it. It'll give you a really good understanding. Hey, once you've done that, let me know. I'm gonna give you a call. We're going to talk about it. Okay, great. Okay. What about the wellness program? You know, I've referenced this a lot. 2 minutes and 29 seconds gives you a really good understanding, you know, what it looks like, their personal ally, member website, customized aging map. It'll go through that, gives them a good, and it gets some buy-in, right? I would send this after I've got the person bought in. We're going to do business. Hey, by the way, I don't want to overlook this, Mr. Client. Here's a video on the wellness program. Let's make sure that we take advantage of that. You know, where are we approved? There's a list where, you know, in 44 or 45 states now, so almost everywhere. Working on California, we really want to get there. We know there's some opportunity out there. Quite frankly, I don't know that we'll ever probably get it in New York. Underwriting, I'd mentioned this here. So you can literally go on here, click on this, boom. There's all you need to know about underwriting from an agent perspective. Okay, not sure what I just did there. There we go. Sorry. You know, so it'll walk you through, you know, what that looks like, you know, any resource you may need from an underwriting perspective. You know, the 5 health questions, I talked to you about that. Right here they are. Okay. You know, anything you may need to become an expert, explain the digital underwriting, marketing materials. Okay. Anything you could possibly need. Agent guide. These are all agent facing, right? Here's the coverage ratio deal. You know, pull these up, save them, put them in a folder. That's exactly what I did. I get a message a day, an email a day. Leon, can you send me some resources? I go into my bridge folder and fire off 4 or 5 of these that are the most common. Bunch of case studies, you know, things that, hey, well, I've got a client that looks like this, and send that to a client. And then, hey, client facing, right? So you click on it. Hey, I live in Iowa, right? What's available? What's approved? Okay, keep me out of hot water. Boom, I can just click share and send that off. Okay, really slick. Here's what I would use this to sell. Okay, Mr. or Mrs. Client, I'm going to share. Can I share my screen? We'll get on whether they're in your office or they're tech savvy, and you can go on and do a little webinar, one-on-one, you know, video session with them. You know, John Q. Public. Hey, you live in Iowa. Great. You're 65 at the age of issue. Let's assume that, you know, you're in good health. You know, by the way, you've asked, yeah, hey, let's find out, John Q, let me ask you where'd I go? The underwriting questions, right? Hey, I'm going to walk you through these. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. Hey, you know what? You answered no to the first 3. Perfect. Right now, we know that 66% of people are getting preferred. Let's look at what that is. Okay, great. We're going to say issue age is 10 years out, right? So 75. We can solve it for monthly benefit, coverage ratio, or initial premium. I think monthly benefit is the best. Here's why. It's going to show them the long-term care whole number, right? It's going to show them their monthly benefit. Okay. Here's where I think you can get, you know, so you walk them through it. Hey, if you're 65, we put this in place. At age 75, we have a claim. Here's what your monthly benefit would be. Most people, right, you know this, they hold their cards a little close to the vest, right? Well, you know what, I've got 100,000 or I've got 50,000. They probably have a little more than that. It's like when we go to the car dealership, hey, I want to spend X amount. Well, we know we probably could spend a little more. We just don't want to get upsold, right? Hey, you know what? How's that look? That looks great. Well, boy, look at the power of this, you know, how this product works. What if we just went to 125? I don't know if you have that, Mr. Customer, available, but just, you know, hey, so you see that number, $6,400 a month. We've already talked to them about what the potential costs are. Wow, it went to $8,000. Yeah, so if you were able to find another 25,000, boy, and in this scenario, that would go from 6,400 to 8,000 a month. Boy, that's a big deal. And you get it, right? Now we go to 150, you know, and just show it to them. Yeah, so 8,000. Boy, we start at 6,400. If you were able to go from 100 to 150, Mr. Customer, you know, you'd have $9,600 a month to pay for your long-term care benefits for up to 60 months. That's pretty cool. So, you know, I'd use this as a tool to have the conversation, to illustrate it with people. Really neat. You hit download results, guys. And hopefully there's always risk when you try to demonstrate technology, but it looks like it's going to work just fine. Boom, it gives me a really nice PDF, right? You can save this and send it to the client. kind of walks them through some of the stats, right? Some of the things that I've talked to you about, right? 7 out of 10, 66%, 88%, all the things we talked about earlier, right? What the wellness program will do, the costs that are out there, they can start to align. Hey, that 6,400 wasn't enough. That 96 gets me a little closer to where I want to be. You can see it, right? What this looks like, just, coverage ratios and, minimum coverage and all the things. It's just very digestible, a snapshot of the illustration, just slick, right? You save this, you send it to them. Heck, maybe you know somebody well enough that, hey, you just do one of these for them and send them an email. Hey, this is something we need to talk about. Take a quick look, just enough to get them engaged and excited about it. So, Tim and I thought it'd be powerful, to show you this tool. I think it's a sales tool. I think it's a learning tool, and I think it's both agent and client facing and friendly. So that's that. Tim, anything else that I missed that you thought maybe we should cover, or you think we're good?
Well, we've got a few questions here, so
Okay.
let's run through those here real quick.
Awesome.
And the first one is this product available in New York? I think you covered that one.
It is
45,
not, unfortunately.
Yeah, 45 state approval. Unfortunately, New York's not one of them, but that's really good news on California. I'm sure there's some folks on the phone watching now or that have watched this on YouTube down the road that are interested in California getting added up there. But really good coverage that you see it all there, right there on the screen for everybody.
Yeah.
Next,
right. That list is short. Yeah, I mean, even since I've started, we've added several states. A lot of so Pennsylvania, New Jersey were big ones that we've added relatively recently. So constantly working on getting more and more. And as that environment changes, right, from a regulatory perspective, and some of these states requiring long-term care and then fining people for not having it and all the things that go with that. We think we've got a pretty good case, in some of these states that we don't have today. So yeah, work is being done, and the more we can get, obviously, the better for our clients and obviously for our partners.
Perfect. Next question here is, can we have product brochures sent to us? So everybody, after this webinar, we're going to send you out an email. That's going to be a webinar kit. There's going to be a bunch of the different marketing materials that Leon has referenced here today, a link to the webinar, and then a digital brochure there. If anybody does want some paper brochures mailed out to them, you can definitely just respond back to that email or give me a buzz here at the office. Let me know how many you'd like, and we can get you those over. We will 100% get everybody on this call, the digital version of that, but if you wanted some in paper form mailed out to you, so you could give your client something to hold on to and take back and digest it at home after you've had that meeting, we can certainly do that for you.
Yep, there you go.
And then the last question I think we have here, oh, nope, I got two more, or this one plus two. So could you do a 1035 with an existing LTC policy to this, or does it have to be new money?
You know what, that's the first time I've gotten that question. Is it true long-term care, I guess, so with a traditional long-term care provider? I don't know. That's the first time I've gotten that question. I don't know if that's 1035able. We do have some that are in old annuity contracts that have a version that is a long-term care rider, that yes, we absolutely could. So if that's the question, yes, on a true long-term care contract, that's one I'd have to do a little more research. That's the first time that's come up. I'm not sure. Tim, you may know that. Is that something that's 1035able?
Yeah, so I did actually, while you were presenting, I followed up with a couple of members on my team. They said we have done it before, but we really need to take a look at that product. And so if you have that situation, email us over that statement from the product so we can take a peek at that and see if we would be able to 1035 that over.
And is that because that becomes more of a suitability discussion, Tim? Because hey, what features and benefits type of conversation?
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Yeah. No, that makes sense.
All right. Last question here. Those who have had strokes, heart attacks, or with Parkinson's disease, will these be accepted? So
yes.
Again, from the standpoint of the long-term care enhanced benefits, that is a guaranteed issue. But I'll let Leon expand on that.
Yeah, no, it's good. And I typically don't get into great detail about question 4, because I want people to understand that if you can answer no to the first 3 questions, that you should put them through underwriting. And that's even with, right? So then the question 4, have you been diagnosed or advised by a member of the medical profession as having or been treated for any of the following conditions in the past 5 years? Heart attack, bypass, angioplasty, stent surgery of the heart or leg, COPD, chronic kidney failure, cancer of bone, esophagus, liver, lung, ovaries, pancreas, stomach, uterus, lymphoma, leukemia, or any metastatic cancer. Okay. So just because someone answers yes to that does not knock them out. It may, depending on where they're at, but what ultimately happens is they go through underwriting, and guys, that's why I encourage you, go on and watch the underwriting video. You know, they'll be on camera, and they're going to ask them questions, mental acuity questions, right? So, hey, Leon, okay, first question, please recite the alphabet and assign the correlating number to that, meaning A1, B2, C3, D4, E5, right? And how far can they go, right? So that's how the underwriting is done. Then they're going to have to demonstrate some physical things, right? Can you stand up without the assistance of your hands? Can you balance, right? So they'll be, so if they, regardless of the things that they've had in the past, okay, remember, we're not ordering APSs, right? We're not talking to their doctor. We're not ordering, things like that. We're not getting RX, reports, right? We're not looking at MIB. We're not, none of those, okay? It's simply, how do you perform through the underwriting in your current state, mentally and physically, okay? So, I could have had a heart attack 2 years ago, changed my eating habits, stopped smoking, quit drinking, and I'm fit as a fiddle, right? And as long as my mind is sound and now I'm healthy, yeah, you can absolutely still get standard and or preferred, or not and or, standard or preferred. So yeah, great question. One we get a lot, right? So that's question 4. The 5 is the past 5 years they receive Social Security disability insurance benefits, okay? But again, the first 3 are the ones that, don't overthink this, gang. They answer no to the first 3, put them through underwriting, because there's no downside. So hopefully that cleared that.
I think it did. So just everybody, we're wrapping up the call. It's we're an hour and 10, 15 minutes in here. I really appreciate everybody who stuck on for the additional 15 minutes of bonus play. But if you have a case that you're looking at, Leon and I will hop on to the computer. We can go through the Bridge microsite with you. I feel very comfortable with the Bridge microsite, but it's because I've been there 20 times. If this is your first time on the Bridge microsite, I'm sure you have lots of questions, because I had lots of questions, but I want everybody to know that we are here to support you through that. We'll hop on the call. We'll do a Zoom. I actually was with an agent last week, and I hopped on a Zoom and helped him he was writing an application on himself. And he'd never done an e-app before, and we got that all the way pushed through, and now he has a Bridge contract. So we're here to help. I think the resources that EquiTrust has put together on this microsite, super easy to download and send all of that stuff out. Again, we can support if you need some stuff in person. But Leon, I really appreciate the time. Everybody on this call, be on the lookout for that email from us, and we'd love to work with you. Anything else there, Leon?
No, hey, Tim, thanks a lot. And everybody, again, I know we get outside about 45 minutes or an hour. It's tough, and I know your time is important, but I do appreciate it. I saw most of the folks stuck in, and I usually don't do the microsite thing as part of the same deal, but I love the fact everybody kind of hung around and checked it out. It's an important issue. I appreciate your partnership, and we want to be a resource for you so you can be a resource to your clients. Tim, thanks a lot. I appreciate the time, and again, appreciate your partnership and what you're doing to help us with this product.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Bye now.